It should come as no surprise that Sony are making moves behind the scenes to counteract what Microsoft has done with their reveal of the Xbox Series S, the pricing of the Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series X, the pricing of that. In addition to that, they also have the All Access program where people can kind of make payments. Sony clearly frantically working behind the scenes, and this should be nothing new. Look, Sony doesn't have to do anything crazy. Sony doesn't have to change the world. Sony doesn't really have to do much, but obviously they are going to make some changes and they are going to come up with something, because clearly Microsoft had a little bit of a couple of day winning spree, and Sony's obviously not going to allow that. Let's just be honest and kind of cut the nonsense with that right there. Sony makes a habit of destroying any momentum Microsoft has and look for that trend to continue. We're going to cover that here. This is pretty big. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. All you fine folks, thank you so much. The easiest way to support a small channel like mine: like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, turn on your notifications, all that great stuff. Shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, everybody in between. You're simply amazing and you make me feel good. So thank you so much for all the love and support. I really do appreciate it. Now, with that being said, of course, Microsoft had some good things going for them. They have, this cheap console. It's $299. Let's forget about the part where you're probably going to have to pay $150 or so for an expansion drive almost right away for it. We'll let them have that victory. They have sort of this GIMP console that's coming out, and that might appeal to a certain amount of people. I also do feel like it is a bit of a Trojan horse, simply put out there to sort of lure people and to get it at an attractive price point, and maybe even fooling some people into picking it up without realizing, hey, you know what? We're going to need to spend more on the memory and the solid state drive expansion than we would have if we just bought a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. So there is that contingent as well. I think that's sort of why these things are so similarly named. The naming stuff, don't get me started on that. You can imagine, I know that some people think, well, they did discontinue the Xbox One X and the Xbox SAD or whatever, but they're still making the Xbox One S currently, and there's probably an abundance of stock in warehouses. So somebody comes this holiday and they're like, I want that Xbox S, and then they go into the store, can I get an Xbox S? Well, what do you want, an Xbox One S, an Xbox All Digital S? Do you want an Xbox Series S? I don't know, your head's exploding. Wow, you can just imagine how that's going to go over. So I do think there's going to be some confusion in the marketplace. Obviously, clearly I think that Microsoft had a plan going in. Ironic, in my Palpatine voice, ironic. But yeah, it's very ironic because, Microsoft and Phil Spencer have said repeatedly, we don't look at PlayStation as competition. And then all the moves they make prove otherwise, right? Phil Spencer's like, we don't care if we sell consoles because that's not what it's all about. We make money off our services, blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, again, it would probably help you if you had more, AAA exclusives at launch than consoles, but the fact is you've got 2 consoles to kick off next generations and 0 AAA exclusives to go with it. In fact, it could be the worst exclusive launch lineup in history and just launch lineup ever in history, because so far there's 4 confirmed games: Watch Dogs Legions, Assassin's Creed, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Gears of War Tactics. That's it, folks. Those are the 4 launch games. So we can put that kind of out the pasture. It looks like Sony might have quite a handful of games ready to go, including maybe Demon Souls, Gran Turismo 7. We know Spider-Man Miles Morales. But yeah, we'll have to see where the rest shape up. Now, according to this, and I will link this lovely source in the description, you guys can check it out. I will still say, take everything with a grain of salt until it's been confirmed by the companies. But according to this, PlayStation 5 is adjusting plans in response to the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S pricing. Obviously, yesterday was a big day in gaming for Microsoft, as Microsoft finally broke its silence. Not that they wanted to, because according to Phil Spencer, they weren't going to mention any of that stuff until next week sometime. With regards to the upcoming Xbox Series X launch, they announced a $499 price point as well as a November 10th release date. the same launch date as the Xbox Series S. Now, while Sony has yet to respond and reveal some obviously crucial details about the two versions of the PlayStation 5, including the one that doesn't have a disc drive, we may have an early indication. Now, a source who spoke anonymously to Game Reactor, which is the source of this, and who has an overview of the situation, actually confirmed yesterday that when the Xbox Series X launch details were revealed, the PlayStation 5 was considerably more expensive. Now, what that means is kind of up for discussion, and no exact price point was shared. For starters, it could be that version without a disc drive matches the Xbox Series X, or it could mean that the fully featured console is either $50 or even perhaps $100 more expensive. There were rumors that Sony might go $599. I don't necessarily think I believe those rumors. It wouldn't make really much sense considering what we know about what's inside the box. Of course, there's anything that we know about this entire process from the initial reveal is that plans change, and they change often. Sony declined to comment, obviously, but they could correct and decide to take a bigger hit on each console sold by lowering the price to match the Xbox Series X, which is a little bit of speculation. Now, before you come at me with, insiders, blah, 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 I said take it with a grain of salt. Second thing, I will point this out. If you go back to 2013, Microsoft announced their price point first. That gave Sony a chance to really kind of change their strategy, because if you remember, they both did E3, but instead of being different days, they were in the same day, and I think Sony had something like 8 hours to change their stuff. So Microsoft was forcing Kinect and had a $499 price point. Because of it, Sony, which they admitted later, was going to force their camera in the box, and I believe be $499 as well. They got rid of that, and then they went with the $399 price point, and the rest is, as they say, history. So, that's just one of the things that Sony does. They've got time to react. They're probably not in a hurry because their stuff hasn't leaked the way that Microsoft's had, and that's going to be a big problem for Microsoft going down the line. Now, they updated this as well, and it says, such is the fast-moving nature of the business, that we're already hearing reports from multiple sources that Sony has taken a decision to slash the price of the PS5 in response to the aggressive price point of the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. Since the writing of our original point, we've heard that Sony is considering pricing the discless PS5 at $399, and the premium edition will match the Xbox Series X with a $499 price point. So obviously, take this all with a grain of salt. You have to kind of remember that things are always moving in the industry. Now, I do kind of stress this to PlayStation fans. If you are a PlayStation fan, do not expect them to meet the $299 price point of the Xbox Series S. Reason being, the Xbox Series S is a severely gimped console. It is less than half the power of a PlayStation 5. There is no gimped PlayStation 5. There's just the same PlayStation 5, one with a disc drive, one without. And before you kind of go all crazy with that kind of stuff, you might go, oh, well, removing a disc drive wouldn't lower it that much. Well, here's the thing you have to think of when considering that, okay? So, yeah, you can probably knock off $50 for the 4K Blu-ray player or whatever, and that's fine. But you also have to take out $8 for every console, because if you didn't know, there's an $8 licensing fee for every console that is sold because of DVD, Blu-ray players, and things like that. So you have to keep that in mind as well, and that really kind of takes a lot of the strain off of it as well. So you can incorporate that into your long-term thinking, meaning if you were planning to sell millions of these consoles with a disc player, and then you're going to sell millions without, you save quite a bit of money there. $58-$60 per console. You can afford to do that a little bit. And if I were Sony, I would try to get even cheaper than that. I think the biggest win for them would be if they could pull it. And I don't think this will happen, by the way. If you want my prediction, I think that we're going to see $399 discless, $499 for the standard. But if Sony really wanted to go all out and really kind of throw it in Microsoft's face, I would go $449 for the standard and $349 for the discless, and take that hit right away, because you're going to get so many people once they realize the value of going with the PlayStation 5 over an Xbox Series S. It has more memory, it's more powerful, they've got exclusives, they got a bit of everything, and that's really where Sony's going to kind of get an advantage at here. So again, take all this stuff with a grain of salt, but obviously Sony does probably have a little bit of wiggle room. They were actually, probably planning for this. If they weren't planning for this, then why wait for so long, right? They had contingency plan. Sony and Microsoft both probably had a contingency plan, but at the end of the day, Microsoft stuff leaked first. That means Sony can kind of sit back, adjust some things, and get what they need to get right, because they could even decide to bundle some things and things like that for the holiday season to get people more enticed and things like that. Obviously, Astrobot is a bundled game, but you could maybe do even more, start bundling some PlayStation Now, whatever you got to do to sort of take advantage of the situation. I feel like that's going to be a huge factor going into next generation. Maybe even PlayStation Plus, you could factor that into the mix as well. This is going to be a very interesting holiday season. A lot of people are giving Microsoft a big win, because yesterday, I saw a lot of people go, oh, well, all those PlayStation trolls are awfully quiet. And my response to that is, did Microsoft announce some big AAA exclusives for launch that I wasn't aware of? Because announcing more hardware has not been Xbox's problem. Okay, announcing more services has not been Xbox's problem. Having no exclusive games, no AAA exclusive games, has been their problem, and it doesn't look like that problem is going to be solved anytime soon. With that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic day. Please stay safe, happy, and healthy. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. Thanks for watching. Crapgamer, out.
Unscripted.